I mentioned earlier that Industry often gets compared to Mad Men, but what's fascinating is that this wasn't a coincidence made by critics, it was intentional. And Down and Kay aren't shy about the fact that they learned how to create prestige TV by studying prestige TV. In fact, this process never ends, as they talked about themselves rewatching Mad Men during the pandemic, but this time through the lens of experienced screenwriters, having already written and produced season 1 by this point. Mickey Down says in an interview with Dazed that, quote, "With Mad Men, we realized how simple some of the storytelling is. Some of the episodes are literally A to B to C to D, but the dialogue's incredible. The realization of the world, the themes, the motives, everything's so good." He then admits, "There's stuff in season 1 we overcomplicated. Some people said it felt punky, like you're watching something original and raw, but sometimes it confused the heck out of people." And that's such a telling quote, because that's not imitation, that's analysis. They weren't trying to copy Mad Men, they were studying its rhythm. As GQ's Fraser Tharp put it, quote, "If there's one all-time classic series that sits head and shoulders above any reference point, it's Mad Men." And once you know this, you can't unsee it. It's everywhere. The dynamic between Harper and her mentor boss, Eric, that's Peggy and Don. Yasmin being more useful because of her connections than her skills, that's Pete Campbell. The flashbacks in season 3 that bit by bit reveal the key to understanding a larger mystery throughout the story, that's straight out of Mad Men's playbook. Sometimes they even nod to their influences more directly. In one key moment, someone utters the line, "Shut the door, take a seat." And for any Mad Men fans, you know that this isn't just a throwaway line. It's one of the most iconic moments in the entire Mad Men series, and it's literally the title of the show's season 3 finale. It's a line that's uttered 3 times to start pivotal conversations that form a secret alliance and make a move that changes the entire dynamic of the show. But by using that exact line at a key turning point in Industry season 2, Kay and Down are signaling the same narrative inflection point, a moment when alliances shift and the entire show pivots to a new chapter. But unlike Mad Men, the plot just doesn't play out in the same way and instead takes an unexpected turn. So by using that reference, they create a certain expectation for audiences, only to subvert those expectations and say something more meta about reality versus drama. Because that's what great artists do. They use the language of what came before, not to imitate, but to bend it towards their own meaning. And that leads us to the next rule that we can take from Down and Kay. Steal like an artist. Down and Kay understand that originality doesn't come from a vacuum. It comes from lineage. They've steeped themselves in the work that came before them, but they remix it through their own experiences. You can see this again in their love for Michael Mann's Heat, the tone, the pacing, the soundtrack, even the borrowed line, "For me, the action is the juice," all nod to it. And if that wasn't enough, season 3 of Industry even echoes a moment from another HBO show, The Sopranos, in a quiet, devastating scene that longtime fans would immediately recognize. Ultimately, these creators are steeped in the work that came before them, paying homage to their influences whilst making something unmistakably their own. Author Austin Kleon has a book that literally titles itself after this rule, a book called Steal Like an Artist. And there's a quote worth noting here. It reads, "Don't wait until you know who you are to get started. Steal from anywhere that resonates with inspiration or fuels your imagination." And that's exactly what Kay and Down do. They don't steal the surface of something. They steal its structure, its rhythm, its emotional truth. Then they rebuild it to say something new. In a book I often reference on this podcast, since it's one of the best books ever written on creativity, The Runaway Species, writers Anthony Brandt and David Eagleman also note that, quote, "Human creativity draws on our own experience and the raw materials around us to refashion the world." And that's the essence of great art. Not copying, but refashioning. Taking what's been done before and pushing it through your own lens. Kay and Down understand they're part of a creative continuum. And that's why Industry feels both classic and contemporary at the same time, because it is. And if you're making something yourself, here's the takeaway. Don't be afraid to borrow. Be afraid to copy without understanding. Steal the ideas that make you curious. Dissect why they work. Then rebuild them to say something only you could say.